Hey guys, Barbara here. Let's get you determining what data appears in a cell. When you use data validation, you are able to determine what type of data is entered into a cell. By setting these validation rules, you are able to eliminate the possibility of a user inputting the incorrect data type. There is data validation happening all around you all the time. For example, spell check, minimum password length, and password inputs all make use of data validation. There are a number of possibilities that you can choose from when using Google Sheets. You are able to create drop-down lists in cells where only certain options can be chosen, or add warning signs and reject the input of the data if it isn't in the correct format. Using data validation will ensure that your data is accurate when it is entered into the spreadsheet. Let's check it out.
Here is a spreadsheet example that Katie Acker, our training lead here at Open Networks, created when she needed to train 20 schools and just over 1,800 teachers in 5 weeks. She has a team of 6 freelance Google certified trainers across the country that she uses for training. In these slots here, she needed to add in their names so that they could come and fill out what slots they could do for the training sessions. Instead of typing it out each time, the best way to do this is to use data validation and to create a drop-down list. In order to create this type of drop-down list, highlight the range that you want the list to be created in, and then head to your menu bar. Select Data, and go down to Data Validation. Here you will see a number of options that you have. The first thing you need to enter is the range. You can see the range that I have highlighted here. The next thing is to set your criteria. With these options, you will see that you can create a drop-down using a list from a range. This is useful if you already have a list of items in your spreadsheet. You can either simply enter the range that those items appear in, and when this box here is ticked, they will be made into a drop-down. For example, if I wanted the days of the week, I could specify that the range is A8 to A13, and when I click Save Now, you will see those options appear as a drop-down for me to select. The next option down on the list is a list of items. This is useful in our example over here as we need to add in each of the trainers' names. You will need to enter your data and separate them by a comma. This could be a drop-down of yes and no, province that someone lives in, goods being sold, whatever you need available as a drop-down in your spreadsheet. Keep the little checkbox ticked that says Show Drop-Down List in Cell. The next option down is to show a warning or to reject the input. This is useful if anyone tries to type something in that cell that is not seen on the list, it will be rejected. Alternatively, you can have a warning appear when other text is typed in. If you want to add in a custom message that appears when the incorrect data is entered, you can add that in here when you use this little checkbox. This will be a little message that appears when invalid data is entered into the cell. When you click Save Now, you will see that their names now appear as a little drop-down to select. Instead of repeating this each time and for each area that needs it, simply copy the data validation and paste it where you need it to be. If you want to remove the data validation because you no longer need it or if it's in the wrong place, highlight the area that has the validation, head to Data, down to Data Validation, and choose to remove validation. It will then be removed from that area that you have specified. Let's explore some of the other validation options that you can use. The next option down on the list is for a number. You can specify if you would like the number to appear between, less than, greater than, or equal to. Let's have a look at between. Let's say that the number that needs to be entered is between 50 and 100. You have your same options here. When you click Now, notice what happens if I insert a number below 50. It will add this little red indicator and give an error message. This is the custom error message text that you can adjust that we saw in the previous window. Alternatively, you could choose to reject the input entirely and the data will not be able to be added into the cell if it does not meet your criteria. If the correct range is inserted, it will automatically be added into the cell. The next option is for text. Here you are able to specify if the text contains, does not contain, Equals is a valid email or a valid URL. You can also choose to have validation on a date, where you can ensure that a date is entered into the cell, or alternatively, that the date falls into a specific time period. You can add your own custom validation here, or add in a tick box. A shortcut to adding in a tick box is to highlight the range that you want your tick box to appear in, and then choose to insert and down to tick box, and your tick box will be inserted.